Reunifications will continue, and for now, deportations will stop. A federal judge in San Diego issues a new order on family separations. And a surprise endorsement. Leaders of California's Democratic Party throwed their support behind Senator Dianne Feinstein's challenger.
I think the city should probably be licensing these people, and they should be paying some kind of licensing fee.
After years of debate, the city of San Diego might soon have a plan for short-term rentals. We'll have an update from today's public forum.
In the beginning, I got a piece of ebony. I made a guitar. I was a guitar maker.
And from El Cajon to West Africa, it's a lesson in sustainability for a local guitar maker. KPBS Evening Edition starts right now. Good evening, and thanks for joining us. I'm Ebony Monet. Deportations are on hold as the Trump administration works to reunite immigrant families. KPBS reporter Jade Hindman has details on the order from a federal judge.
U.S. District Judge Dana Sabra ordered a one-week halt to deportations. The ACLU argued that newly reunited families are not being given time to decide if they will seek asylum. While the ACLU says today's injunction is a victory, they also say reunification will be more difficult than initially thought.
Just today, the government conceded that there may be 70 or 71 kids who they have in custody for whom they don't even know the identity of the parent. We're not talking about they haven't found the location of the parent. We're talking about 70 to 71 kids for whom they don't even know who the parent is.
The government has reunited about half of the 100 children aged 5 and under. The rest are deemed ineligible due to safety concerns. An estimated 2,500 children aged 5 and older must be reunited by July 26th. The stay on deportations will last until at least July 23rd, pending further briefings. The parties involved will submit a status report this Thursday and be back in court Friday. Jade Hindman, KPBS News.
Short-term home rental sites like Airbnb have been operating in San Diego for years with few regulations. Tonight, the City Council might take its first real action on the issue. KPBS reporter Andrew Bowen is covering what's been a marathon meeting at City Hall.
There have been many city council meetings on the short-term rental issue, but this is the first one in which Mayor Kevin Faulconer has taken a firm stance. His proposal would create a licensing system for whole home rentals and a lower-cost permitting system if you want to rent out just a spare bedroom. Now, earlier in the day, there was a press conference held by short-term rental supporters. They praised the mayor's framework.
We believe that Mayor Kevin Faulconer's compromise proposal is the best for small businesses in San Diego that rely on short-term rental guests to keep their doors open. There are many neighborhoods throughout the city that don't have as many hotel options for visitors, but opening up those areas of the city to guests helps the small businesses there get important income from tourists that they otherwise wouldn't have access to.
The council meeting itself included hours of public testimony both for and against the mayor's proposal. Many shared familiar stories of disruptive parties from Airbnbs next door. Others say they've come to rely on short-term rentals for their livelihood. Now, if the City Council does come up with a policy compromise this evening, it's likely to involve some last-minute deal-making. Mayor Faulconer says, above all, San Diego communities need certainty on this very divisive issue. Andrew Bowen, KPBS News.
Some neighborhoods are more impacted than others by short-term rentals. KPBS reporter Matt Hoffman went to Mission and Pacific Beach to see where people stand on the issue.
Go to Mission Beach and you can't miss them. Dozens of short-term rentals for vacationers. People say part of the draw is being able to rent right on the water, something you can't usually get from a hotel.
You have to get all your stuff, get in a car, drive all the way down here, find a place to park, then get all your stuff out on the beach. It's a big hassle. We always stay right here on the water, so no hotels.
While they might be convenient, others say short-term renters are disrespectful and often throw loud parties. Some of the complexes near the beach don't even allow short-term rentals.
Like the neighbors next door, they weren't even supposed to do it. There's rules now. You cannot do Airbnb. And 1 in the morning, screaming and yelling. And for the neighbors, it's not fun. Right. You know, for me, if I have to listen to it, it's not fun.
Airbnb is one of the largest services for short-term rentals. They have been using social media campaigns to try and sway public opinion, asking people to send emails in support. Still, some think oversight for short-term rentals is not a bad thing.
I believe it definitely should be regulated. I think the city should probably be licensing these people, and they should be paying some kind of licensing fee. And yeah, because it's putting a load on the entire infrastructure of the city.
Some of the people who are not in favor of short-term rentals say they have used them on vacation before, but they just don't want them where they live. Matt Hoffman, KPBS News.
Del Mar property owners are fighting over the size of homes they can build along the beach. KPBS North County reporter Allison St. John says the issue is likely to become a ballot initiative.
Some of the most expensive homes in San Diego County are in low-lying beach areas in Del Mar, in a community that is potentially at risk from sea level rise. But property owners continue to build ever larger mansions on their oceanfront properties. Some homeowners are against a proposed initiative that would limit the size of new homes built on lots bordered by the high tide line. Del Mar Mayor Dwight Warden says the size of homes in Del Mar is restricted by the size of the lot.
This initiative would lock in that you don't get to count the sandy part of the beach in computing the size of your home.
Warden says property owners worry this would lower their property values. He says the City Council is likely to send the initiative to the ballot rather than adopt it next month, assuming enough valid signatures are verified. In the North County Bureau, Allison St. John, KPBS News.
A San Diego County supervisor now has a national platform. Greg Cox was sworn in today as president of the National Association of Counties. The organization represents county governments when it comes to national policy issues. Supervisor Cox says he will focus on ways to bring county services to vulnerable populations. Senator Dianne Feinstein has represented California for more than 25 years. But over the weekend, she lost her party's endorsement. The California Democratic Party's executive committee is endorsing State Senator Kevin De Leon. Feinstein outperformed De Leon 44 to 11% in the primary. One political analyst says this demonstrates the gap between party moderates and activists.
You know, really in a one-party state like California, and with a senator serving this long, the truth of the matter is Senator Feinstein was not working activists, probably doesn't know half of the people in the room, and has probably allowed a lot of those relationships to atrophy. That's probably most of it.
The matchup among Democrats is due to California's jungle primary system, in which the top two candidates compete in the general election, regardless of party. More Muslim Americans are running for offices in numbers not seen before the 9/11 attacks. Dozens are competing for national or statewide offices. AP reporter Mike Householder met some of those candidates.
So elections are August 7.
Fayrouz Saad wants to introduce herself to as many voters as she can ahead of the Democratic primary next month, when the former Obama administration official will learn whether they have chosen her to represent their party in the general election to fill a suburban Detroit congressional seat.
All right, yeah. Okay, nice to meet you. Thank you.
A win in that race would give Democrats a pickup in a district that has been reliably Republican for more than a decade, and make Saad the first female Muslim member of Congress. Not that the topic comes up all that often during her neighborhood visits.
No one asks about my race, religion, gender, identity, right? Everyone just wants to know where I stand on healthcare, where I stand on guns, where I stand on education.
Muslims are running for office in the U.S. in numbers not seen since before the September 11th terror attacks, spurred in some cases to action by the anti-Muslim policies and rhetoric of President Donald Trump and his supporters.
We're just trying to change the face of leadership. We're trying to kind of reestablish what leadership and power looks like in this country and have it be more representative of the country that we are in.
My name is Abraham Ayash. I'm a candidate for Michigan State Senate.
A nonprofit that helps train Muslim candidates says 50 are still in the running in the U.S. for national or statewide offices midway through the primary election cycle.
As Muslims run for office, a lot more folks start to recognize that we are just as much as part of the American fabric as any other group is.
Not everyone is recognizing that, however.
I've had my fair share of folks who kind of resist my candidacy because of how I choose to pray.
And what was the racial mix?
Tahira Amatul Wadud says she has been forced to weather anti-Muslim sentiment in her race for Congress in Massachusetts.
The Islamophobia network is alive and well. I've not been able to avoid their being on their radar.
The first-time candidate and civil rights attorney has decided to stand firm against such attacks on her religious background.
Dogs will always bark, but they seldom bite. Just don't let them get you, because we're not.
Neither is Saad, who says her main detractors voice their displeasure with her online.
There's always the social media trolls who are alive and well, if anyone was wondering or if anyone had any doubt, and they've been out since day one, and you just got to learn to tune them out.
And get voters to tune in. Mike Householder, The Associated Press, Canton Township, Michigan.
San Diego will not be part of the DMV's plan to expand Saturday service. Starting next month, 17 additional DMV offices will be open on Saturdays. None of those locations are in the city of San Diego. The DMV offices in Chula Vista and San Marcos already offer Saturday service. DMV officials say complaints about wait times led to the added service. People are seeing more coyotes around San Diego County, sometimes in the middle of the day. KPBS reporter Claire Tregesser looks into the reason for the surge and the threat to pets.
It's increased, maybe 2 to 3 sightings a week, up to about 4 to 5.
Danny Cook is captain of the San Diego Humane Society's law enforcement and oversees reports of wild animals, including coyotes. She says there are a few reasons people are seeing more coyotes.
With the fire activity in the county, for us, I think the West Fire Friday impacted our numbers, our sightings of coyotes in the area.
That and the heat and drought mean coyotes will venture out into neighborhoods to find food and water.
That's not rare. So they'll move from one area to another during daylight.
The Humane Society now runs animal control for most local cities. They will not come pick up a coyote unless it's sick or injured, says Carly Padilla, the organization's community outreach educator.
Coyotes are here, they're here to stay, so the best thing that we can advise is to protect yourself and your pets.
That means not letting pets outside unsupervised and keeping dogs, even big dogs, on a short leash. You can find a list of more ways to keep yourself and your pets safe at kpbs.org/coyotes. Claire Tregesser, KPBS News.
El Cajon-based Taylor Guitars is working in West Africa to secure its company's future. KPBS reporter Eric Anderson says success comes down to sustainability for a rare piece of wood.
So I'll just start.
Ernie Navarre leans over a pear-shaped piece of wood.
So I'm noticing right down on my top here, I've got a laser line that denotes the center of the top. And I'm making sure that the center is true, it's where it should be.
He's getting ready to install a decorative inlay that adds a little flair to one of Taylor's acoustic guitars. Navarre works at the El Cajon factory. The Office Park facilities are where all the cutting, bending, gluing, and polishing come together.
How you doing? What are you working on there?
Chris Wellens is in charge of the plant. This sprawling shop is designed to maintain a perfect environment for woodworking.
What we're trying to do with the wood is get it to a certain moisture content and percentage rate throughout the factory. We want the guitar to be stable as we build the guitar.
Wood expands and contracts depending on conditions, and that can affect how a guitar build turns out. And a successful build is of critical importance to Taylor's master builder, Andy Powers. He designs the instruments that are born here.
It started when I was a kid. I got really, really interested in guitars. And so I started building instruments and playing them when I was 6, 7, 8 years old. So I've kind of just been doing this ever since. Just building instruments, playing them, playing songs.
Powers spends a lot of time sketching the future at his office drawing table. Low-tech tools like a sketchbook and a pencil help him work through design ideas that'll end up in the guitars that carry the Taylor brand.
Every part, every component of this instrument, using just woods, we can pick a wood with the right characteristics to make that piece function the way it should.
And one key part of the guitar is the fingerboard. It sits just under the strings on the guitar's long neck. and it is made of ebony, a wood so dense it doesn't float.
This part doesn't get finished over with any like lacquers or coatings or any kind. It's just left as raw wood. So you need something really dense and hard that doesn't wear away.
But ebony only grows in a few tropical regions, and there is competition for the dwindling resource. Guitar maker Gibson was fined hundreds of thousands of dollars a few years ago for possessing illegally obtained ebony. Taylor Guitars co-founder and president Bob Taylor decided it was time to buy a lumber mill in Cameroon, one with legal permits to harvest the hardwood.
In the beginning, I got a piece of ebony, I made a guitar, I was a guitar maker. But now I'm more than that. Like, where is the wood going to come from?
Taylor says the company uses about 300 ebony trees a year, and they've started replanting the tropical trees as part of a sustainability effort. Taylor's goal is to leave behind 500 young trees for every one they cut down. He says the company also seeks out landowners with mature ebony trees.
We go onto a private owner's land, and we say, you have dead and dying trees in here. I mean, I'm talking about trees that if they were people, they'd all be on walkers and an oxygen tank. We can take these out, and the value that we get out of the good wood, we will reforest your land.
And that sales pitch includes a vision for the future. Taylor is asking landowners to be patient because it takes ebony trees 60 to 200 years before they mature, and the guitar industry can only use wood from fully grown trees.
All this effort that's going on in Africa right now, in Cameroon, is for one piece of the guitar. It's not for the guitar, it's one little piece that costs $5.
But that $5 piece of wood is crucial, and the effort to preserve access to the dark, dense hardwood may become part of the cost of doing business for guitar makers like Taylor. Access to high-quality raw materials is essential for a firm that sells quality as part of its brand. Eric Anderson, KPBS News.
I'm Judy Woodruff. Tonight on the NewsHour, President Trump sides with Russia, questioning U.S. intelligence on Moscow's election interference. Coming up at 7, right after Evening Edition on KPBS.
Good evening. I hope you enjoyed your Monday, kicking off the new work week. Notice we do have some rain in the interior areas, mostly over the mountains. It is monsoon season, so we will see more of that happening here over the next several months. Let's take a peek at the big picture, and you can see all that precipitation over the mountains creeping into Southern California. For tonight in the metro, it's going to dip down to 70 degrees for the low. It's going to be cloudy, but again, that sun always comes out. Oceanside 68, Chula Vista at 68 degrees, Ramona 64, and a couple of showers scattered, perhaps even in places around San Diego tonight. Now tomorrow, it's going to be hot, especially those interior areas. We have a high pressure system in place, so lots of sunshine to enjoy. The mountains, again, we could see a couple of showers popping in, but we'll still have some sun, not an all-day washout. 81 degrees in Mount Laguna, Oceanside 79, San Diego right around 76, and Chula Vista as well. So looking like a pretty nice day. Along the coast here, low clouds breaking for sunshine. On Tuesday, it's going to be sunny and humid through Thursday. Temperatures in the low 80s for much of the week. Inland, it's going to be sunny and warm. Temperatures in those upper 80s. And in the mountains, we could see some of those storms through Wednesday and then a drier pattern Thursday through Saturday. Now, Saturday, we could see the return of a couple of storms, but it should stay mainly dry throughout the day, around 82 degrees. And in the deserts, woo, it is hot. We are talking triple digits, up to 106 on Tuesday. We could see a couple of showers, maybe a storm Wednesday, and it's just going to stay blazing hot through Saturday. So it's important to check on the elderly neighbors, the kiddos, the pets, make sure everyone is staying hydrated and safe with these types of temperatures. Ebony, back to you.
California has seen dozens of wildfires this summer, posing a threat for mudslides. Reporter Dave Nazar from PBS SoCal met with scientists who are trying to learn more about why mudslides happen and what can be done to prevent them.
December 2017, Southern California fell victim to the worst wildfire ever recorded in state history. The Thomas Fire burned nearly 300,000 acres, scorching everything in its path, all the way from Ventura County to Santa Barbara County, which is about 2 hours north of downtown Los Angeles. No sooner were Californians out of harm's way from the devastating blaze, Mother Nature dealt a different kind of wrath. In January, heavy, intense rains caused unprecedented mudslides and debris flows in the Montecito neighborhood of Santa Barbara County because of all the scorched earth from the Thomas Fire. 21 people died in this disaster. More than 100 homes were destroyed, over 300 damaged, and part of one of California's busiest highways, Highway 101, was shut down for nearly 2 weeks. Kate Scher is a geologist with the United States Geological Survey. She was part of the response team which aided in the Montecito rescue effort and also helped with damage surveillance and assessment. Today we met Scher out here at a debris basin in the Sylmar community of Los Angeles County, located at the base of the San Gabriel Mountains. In December, parts of Sylmar were also scorched from what was known as the Creek Fire.
The material that you can see on the landscape is what becomes a debris flow. A common word that's used to describe that is actually a mud flow. We like to use the term debris flow because it includes not just mud from the soil, but also the big rocks, the trees, big chunks of the bedrock or the hill slope that could get entrained in these flows as they go downhill. So the reason we like to say debris flow is it's a huge variety of material that comes down, not just mud.
Is that what causes the devastation? Is it the velocity and the violence of the flow, or is it something else?
It's certainly the velocity of it. Debris flows can move as fast as 30 to 40 miles an hour. If you think of yourself driving in a car at that speed, you certainly wouldn't want to hit anybody, right? When you envision that you could take all the material on this landslide in the landscape and have it move that quickly in a slurry that has a concentration of cement, for example, and it's moving that fast, it can take you out very quickly.
I have not seen a debris flow this bad within the last 20 years.
Janice Hernandez is with the California Geological Survey. Hernandez was also part of the team out at Montecito, helping emergency responders and also documenting the path of the debris flow and mudslide.
Debris flows are characterized as sediment, rock, wooded debris, materials, air and water that just get entrained and mobilized in a rapid deposit. They come barreling down the canyons at a rapid pace, and as this material works its way down the slopes, it's picking up stuff. We call it entraining, but it's picking up stuff from the sides, from the front, and it's just making the mass even greater. If at the bottom of the canyon we have a debris basin down there, it's supposed to catch this heavy material and allow the lighter material, the water, to flow out of it. But in the case after a fire, there was just too much material to come down, and the basins filled up and they overtopped, and all that material was spilling out into the neighborhoods uncontrollably.
To help with these life-saving efforts, geologists are combining science and technology to map the post-fire danger zones for potential mudslides and debris flows. It's a collaborative effort with USGS and CGS and other technical specialists such as hydrologists, engineers, the U.S. Forest Service, and the Weather Service. Together, they are helping create specialized landslide maps. Scientists track and then map things like soil texture, burn severity, and topographic information. Geologists are also using aerial imagery and satellite data and a technology called LIDAR. LIDAR is another mapping technique using laser beams flown from an airplane to collect information. LIDAR can see through things like trees, brush, and other vegetation, and with digital processing get detailed imagery of everything on the ground, like homes, buildings, creeks, rivers, drainage systems, and it can identify any type of terrain, be it rough, hilly, or mountainous, helping geologists study landforms as if they're under a magnifying glass.
Is there any way that this can be prevented, or is Mother Nature just going to do what Mother Nature does?
Mother Nature is going to do what Mother Nature does.
When the rain comes down, no vegetation, loose soils, is just a recipe for disaster. You basically get buried by the debris.
SeaWorld San Diego is sharing video of one of its rescues. The theme park says its rescue team found a wounded harbor seal at the La Jolla Children's Pool. The female seal had a severe neck wound caused by gill netting. After a couple of weeks, the wound was healed enough for a release back into the wild, along with 2 other seals. Now, here's a look at what we are working on for tomorrow in the KPBS newsroom. A decision is expected tonight on San Diego's short-term rental ordinance. Morning Edition will have details on the outcome at City Hall. And on Midday Edition, the high school program in Vista that's teaching students how to fly planes and operate drones. You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.